All right, Sean Zattel, FightHype.com. Pleasure to be joined by the four-division world champion, the Ghost, Robert Guerrero, Gilroy Cali's finest, but, training out here in Vegas now. But,
Yep.
Robert, man, before we get into this big fight with Victor Ortiz, Showbox, they had their 20th anniversary show later, and you were one of the fighters they really prominently featured and gave a lot of love to, alongside some great fighters like Andre Ward and others. Did you get a chance to watch that, and what'd you feel about that, man?
Oh yeah, definitely. Showbox always gives me a lot of love. I've had a lot of fights on there. That's where my career got built. I've actually even defended the IBF Championship of the World on there with Jason Litzow. So it was nice. It was nice to have those type of tributes, and especially being on Showbox, the next generation.
Yeah, man, because you already know some of the greatest fighters of the last 20 years came through there. So
oh yeah,
felt
definitely.
Good.
Everybody that's on the road to that world championship is going through Showbox.
Right. But and before we get into the boxing too, how is your wife? That's something people have followed for a decade now. Is everything good with your family and your wife's health?
Oh yeah, she's doing great. She's been doing it, man. She's been doing it. She's been cancer free now. It's going on 12 years, and I couldn't be happier with that. It eases your mind, and I'm able to focus and train on do what I got to do.
That must feel amazing, man. Mentally in camp,
Oh yeah, yeah. I get a little homesick here and there, being away and being secluded, but it comes with the territory, and it's about those sacrifices and being ready.
Now, Robert, at 38 years old, what would you say is the difference in how you can be effective now versus when you were 28, 30 years old, beating Andre Berto those days?
That experience you have, it all comes into play, and knowing how to train, knowing when to push, when to pull. When I was a little younger, it was like just pedal to the metal, all the way through, even injured, everything, never really cared, just wanted to just go and fight. So, now camps are a lot different, smarter, working on a lot of things. And, you tend to, when you're young, you tend to spiral out of control a little bit and do some crazy things. And that's what I was doing in the ring, trying to bang out guys and walk them down. And I'm pretty much the smaller dude, and I'm just in there trying to just walk down the biggest guys in the division. So, now it's using that experience and using my head in that ring.
Well, it's not like you got tempted into doing it for no reason. You moved up and you beat Berto going after him like that, right? So it's understandable that you fell in love with walking bigger guys down, right? But
oh yeah, I had kind of a chip on my shoulder moving up to 47, especially coming off of a shoulder injury and moving up to 2 weight classes. People thought I was insane, and that I was going to get wrecked. So I had that chip on my shoulder, like, hey, I got to show people that I can be in here with these guys. And sure enough, I went a little overboard trying to bang out the guys, fell in love with it too much and just kind of threw the skills out the window.
Does part of you now, you can't really regret the decision because all the money and the big fights that came with it, but does part of you wish there could have been a time where you fought at 140 pounds?
No, I never really regret it. The decisions you make, I mean, there's a consequence to everything. And I think it was a great decision. I jumped up to 47. The problem I was having was at 26, 30, 35, I was always chasing those unification fights, and they'll never happen.
Right.
You'll have fighters, kind of sidestep and fight somebody else. And I never got to do any of those unification fights. So when I was coming back, everybody's moving to 140 pounds. So I'm like, you know what? Heck with the 140 pounds. Let's just move to 47 and start establishing there. And those guys are going to have to come to 47 pretty soon, and I'll be right there. So, that's what my thought process was. And, sure enough, I went in there and got in with, guys like Mayweather, Berto, some of the best fighters, Garcia, Thurman.
And now you're fighting Victor Ortiz, who was, former welterweight champion as well. Did you ever cross paths from Victor? I mean, once he came over to California, but ever any any time in boxing where you cross paths with Victor?
Oh, all the time, all the time. Every time I see Victor, Victor's a good friend. You know, every time I see him, you know, it's always, hey, always happy, smiles and everything. You know, he's a very, very nice guy, family man, and so am I. So, you know, I would see him at the fights. Also, we were also stable mates with Golden Boy, so
Right.
we fought on the same cards a lot. So, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, it was a matter of time we were going to collide with each other, and here it is.
Yeah. What'd you think when they brought this fight to you? You know, it's all these years later. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was quick to jump to it. You know, I never shy away from any fights, and you know, friends or not, you know, it is sport, and this is what we do. So, you know, I was excited about it, and fighting Victor Ortiz is one of those fights that all the fans wanted to see. Also, you know, while we were both, you know, on the rise. So, um, it, it, it's a little bit later in our careers, but you know, it's here, and we're both coming to fight.
Well, they used to say when champions fight champions, you know, when they get older, sometimes you get an even more exciting fight, you know, because the feet are more planted, they're not as bouncy as when they were younger. So sometimes you get even more action than if they fought when they were younger. Do you think that's the case here with Victor, or how do you see this fight going?
Oh, definitely. You know, with more experience for both of us, you know, there's a lot at play. You know, Victor always comes to fight. He's that give or take type of fighter, and everybody knows that's the type of fighter I am. So, you know, we're gonna go and we're gonna put him up. So I'm excited about it.
When it comes to give and take, you know, you guys could both dish it out, but you've been known throughout your career in comparison to Victor as the guy who could take it more, who, you know, better chin, will you know, a little more heart. No disrespect to Victor, who's been a champion, but is that going to be a big difference in this fight? You know, your heart versus his.
Um, you know, we'll see fight night. We'll see fight night. You know, people change. You know, stuff happens, and there's some of those times where people, you know, it's just like, hey, I'm gonna go for broke.
Right.
So, you know, it's one of those things you just got to be ready for Victor because, you know, once Victor's wheels are going, they're going. So, you know, you got to be 100% ready for him and whatever he brings. So that's what we've been doing. That's why I've been out in Las Vegas for a month and a half training and being secluded and ready to go.
Well, I'm just interested to see how you approach this fight, the older, wiser Ghost. You know what I mean? Because I know before you just go after this kid. So.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we're gonna fill it out. You know, if it has to be a brawl, then it's a brawl. If it's, you know, more boxing, more boxing. So we're prepared for both styles, and you know, we're coming to fight.
You know, I just want to ask you too, because you not only did you fought the best, you fought them when they were at the top. Do you feel like, how do you feel the Keith Thurman that you fought in 2015 would have done against Manny when he did fight him? And how do you think he would have done against Mayweather, the Mayweather you fought?
I think it would have been the same outcome.
Okay.
You know, Manny's a phenomenal fighter. And being in the ring with Thurman, you know, he is a good boxer on his toes. You know, you put some pressure on him, some fast pressure, and he starts falling apart a bit. You know, my problem was, you know, I just got started too late in the fight. You know, I approached the first half of the fight like almost like it was a sparring session, and
Right.
you know, that goes back to the way I was training and you know, not being 100% focused on what I got to do to be ready for a Thurman. So
It was like the knockdown woke you up that night.
oh yeah,
When
yeah.
once you got dropped, it got up. That's when the real Guerrero, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, with that was, you know, I started real slow, like it was a sparring session, and I already knew I was down four rounds. It was like the fifth round, and then I went down. I'm like, oh man, now I'm way behind. I gotta play catch up or knock this guy out. So, and you know, Thurman's very, very good on his toes and floating and you know, pop shotting and picking his spots. So that's when I really had to press on the gas. And but I really feel if I would have pressed on the gas from the start to finish, I don't think he would have lasted.
Is that a rematch you'd still want?
Oh, definitely, definitely, that's a rematch I would want. You know, Thurman's you know, he's a little older now. He's been out of the ring for a while. He's tasted defeat. you know, he's got a family now. So, you know, when all that stuff plays a factor, it changes. So I'm interested to see how he's going to come, you know, for his next fight, whoever it is.
Do you feel like you have to not just win on this pay-per-view, you know, with all eyes watching, but you have to be dominant in order to get a fight, like a big fight, like a Keith Thurman rematch or something to get back in that title picture?
Oh, definitely. It's got to be an exciting fight. You know, I got to come to fight. I got to show. And that's what I always do, though. Every time I fight, you know, I come out and I come and get it. So the one thing with Victor Ortiz is he's that type of fighter also. So no matter what fight Ortiz is in or who he's fighting with or myself, it's always a great fight. So I think the fans are going to love it. And, you know, when fight night, I think it's going to throw me right back into that, to one of those big fights.
And just before I let you go, Robert, just on the main event, how tough is that? You know, you're going southpaw versus southpaw. How tough is it in 10 days before the fight? Now you got to switch to a right-hander like Pacquiao does with Ugas.
I think it's going to be a little bit easier for Pacquiao, you know, fighting his whole career pretty much right-handed fighters. So it's like riding a bike. You know,
Right.
you've been doing it your whole life. So I'm interested to see how Ugas is gonna adjust to it. You know, him training for Maidana, you know, as a right-handed fighter. So you know, not having a lot of left-handed experience fighting with guys like, especially like Pacquiao, who's fast, hit hard, herky-jerky, in and out. So you know, it's interesting to see. So I think this fight is going to show where Ugas, you know, what kind of fighter he really is, to make those adjustments.
Do you see Pacquiao winning this fight?
Oh yeah, I see Pacquiao edging this fight out. Ugas is a tough guy though. He does come to fight, and he's always in great shape. Throws a lot of punches. You know, he's in and out. So you know, anything can happen though. Anything can happen, and you know, this is a big opportunity for Ugas. You know, you got the legendary Manny Pacquiao in front of you.
Right.
It would have been nice if they would have moved me up. But
I'm sure you'd have been down for that.
oh, I would have loved it. You know, two lefties going at it. I mean, we were both prepping for lefties. So.
Did you ever spar him back in the day, Pacquiao?
Yeah, I sparred Pacquiao back in the day. I sparred him one time, and you know, I did fairly well, and you know, I just leave it as that.
All right. Hey, Robert, thank you so much, man. I know one thing's for sure. People are going to get their money's worth with your fight. Thank you so much, man. August 21st, yep. Live from Las Vegas. Robert Guerrero taking on Victor Ortiz in a battle of former champs looking to get back to that title picture. Thank you, Robert.
Yep. Hey, no problem. You have a good day. All right, bud?
Thank you, brother. God bless.
Okay. God bless. Bye.